Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to use color random or color randomizer or random color. Well, it's a new procedural to randomize your color based on the IDs that you got on the objects. Okay, so what I've got here is it's a kitchen scene with the table with the little bowl here and filled with candies, which right now more looks like a weird black I don't know, beans. Okay, so I've got a color for them actually right here. So this is my material. It's very simple. It's just a base color that has some details on top. Well, you'll see them later, like little tiny dots. And well, there's a speck, right, a glaze. So the way color random works is basically you apply a texture and then you choose a procedural. So in this case, you want to do it to the main color because you want to keep the glaze all the same for the whole candies, unless you want to alter that. And you can do that too. So you can make some candies more rough, some more shiny. You can apply that randomizer to the glaze, intensity also, and to the roughness spread, and to pretty much everything, everywhere you can see this texture, you can apply that. So the way the scene is set up is, again, as I said, there's a table, there's a wall, there's a few light panels, there's a group of candies, let me hide that. There's a group of candies, it's a little bit more than 400 of those, and there's a wood bowl, right? So right now it looks something like this, because the color is black, right? So if we go into the texture, what I did is just added a new random color. So from here, new procedural, see it goes random color. It does a color randomizer. Okay, so random color. And then you have a settings here. So you click on it. I think it would be easy if we'll start the fire preview. Yeah, let it load a bit. I mean, for the real-time thing, it's the scene is roughly 500,000 triangles. So it might take, oh, there it is. Okay. I was actually expecting myself talking a little bit longer about it. That's fine. Okay, so again, see, I'm applying texture, and you already can see it's a little bit darker than I thought. It probably switched off the background image, but that's cool. So click on the texture, click on a random color. The main parameters are this 6 right here. So in my case, I want to go from hue 0, so basically from the beginning of the circle, the hue circle, if you can imagine it yourself, to hue 359, so basically almost 360 degrees. In fact, it's a 360 degrees, so the 0 is basically the first degree, and another 359, that's the rest of the, so that makes the full circle. So here I'm using all the possible color hues there. So if I'll make that from 0 to, say, 40, I'll be using hues only from 0 to the 40, which means basically reds and oranges. So let's do that now. And you can see it's reds and oranges. Okay. And the same thing works is if I'll go, say, from 100 to 120, a few shades of green, right? You can see that there's a dark green, there's a lighter green, there's a little bit more darker green right here. If I expect that to 140, I'll add a little bit of bluish. You can see it's a little bit more. Probably want to see a little bit like that. So you can do that too if you have a very specific collection of hue values that you want to tackle in. Say you want to just do the blues. So you go from 200 to 300, or I don't know, 280, 260 maybe. And see, it's pretty fast. It's just the colors, right? So that's your blues. Okay, so that's the hue. So in my case, I want to go from 0 to 359, which is like all possible values. And you can actually exclude. So right now, if I go from 0 to 350, I'll exclude all the hue values from 50 to 59, which is pinky, purpley, kind of magenta colors. If I want to have only them, then I can actually start from 350 and end on, say, 1 or 0. So that is also possible to do. And you can actually go over. You can start from 350 and end on 120 or 100 to exclude all the blues but everything else, right? I don't know if that makes any sense. I hope it does. Okay, so the next two values, so they all go in pairs, right? From and to. So you give the starting parameter and the closing parameter, basically. So from to, right? So that's why it's a 6 and 3 sets, the hue, saturation, and value. It's very, I mean, to everyone who works with color, you guys are already very familiar with those. So from saturation 120 to saturation 200. So that is my numbers. I wanted all the candies to be quite colorful, but I wanted to have a little variation on how colorful each candy would be. So I figured out it would be from 120 on the 255 kind of scale to 200. I don't want to go too crazy because that would be a little bit too artificial, and I don't want to go too dull because candies they have to look great in order for us to want them, right? So the way it works again, if I go from 0, you'll see some of the candies that actually has no color because they start from 0, and then some of them has a little bit more color, right here, right there, and then eventually there's some full color like a 200. And if I go from 0 to 100, even less color, right? So, but if I go from 200 to say 250, all of them very bright and vivid. So that's what I want. I figured out the 120 to 200 is a nice range for the saturation to be not too toxic looking, not too too vivid, too artificial, and not too dull. So I want it to be a little bit more attractive, right? And then value. Value is how bright your colors are here. So from 100 to 200 in my case, but it's a standard scale from 0 to 255. Okay, so if I go from 0, you see some of them are black because that's the value. And then I go from 0 to 200 value, which is full color. But if I go from 0 to say 50, they'll just be they're still colored, just very hard to see because the values go only from 0 to 100. So that is how it works. And you can in my case it was, what was it? I don't recall. 100 to 120, 150. I guess something like that. Maybe 200. Yeah, nice and bright. So if you want to make them all same brightness, just make them 200. See, they're all bright. All very bright, but it's super bright. It looks a little bit too cartoonish, and that's what you get when you put the same material to everyone. So, but when you add a little bit of variation, you'll get some of them bright, some of them not so bright. Maybe 150 to, or 150 to 200, something like that. Okay, so that's the basic controls of those material, of that material, that procedural, whatever you want to call it. And it's color. It's just one use of that. You can use it to transmittance color, to say if all of those candy are transparent, and you can change the color of their transparency. You can use that, or you can actually do roughness variation. Well, let's add a table real quick. It's probably gonna reprocess the scene. And while doing that, check out my render. So that's what I got. Can't see it's a finished one, but it's a good start. You see the candies, they look very nice and glossy and a little texture. You can see little details right here. But the overall color collection is very nice. You have you can imagine that this is like a grape, taste, and this is like maybe, I don't know, green apple or whatever, what is it, cucumber flavor. And the brown is, well, it doesn't matter. Okay, did it process? No? So let's stop. Let me do a save real quick. Because, this version is very stable, but it's just a habit. It's actually a good habit to do a save before you do any real-time interactive stuff. Okay. Oh, yeah. Actually the environment does affect the. Let me turn that on so it'll be a little bit brighter. Yeah, well, it turned out a little bit more brighter than my initial render. So that's that. And well, I'll see you next time. Or well, you'll hear me next time. Cheers.